record one. So, hi guys, we have Koyel Dutta Gupta. She helps professionals in advancing the career through effective communication. That is very important. Soft skill is very important. So, she is a business communication and a coach. She is a writer and editor. If you have any problem, I'm gonna leave the description about her LinkedIn profile and her mail ID. So you can just contact her about the communication. And if you want to improve your communication, just contact you. And Koyal Dutta Gupta, welcome to the podcast. We are gonna talk about the hidden communication skills that gets you promoted, and it's gonna save the relationship also. So, hi Koyal, welcome to our show.
Natasha, thank you so much for this short little introduction that you have given. And it's great connecting with you. And I like how you approached me. And then today we are having this podcast and really happy to interact with all of you. And as
Yes.
Pratyasha mentioned, yes, communication skills is really, really important because whatever you do in life without communicating, you will not survive for a very long time. And it's not only for humans, it's if you see around, every living being is communicating. So it is the most essential skill set, I would say, needed by everyone.
Okay, so first of all, we need to understand what is communication, because many people have a different definitions about it. You need to have a good English, but it's not true. You need, can you give the definition? What is communication basically?
So, communication, I would say, is a process wherein certain factors are involved. Like the sender is there, the person who is communicating, and what is getting communicated is a message, and that the message is received by the recipient. So, the sender and the recipient are the two important factors in the communication process, and definitely the message that goes through a lot of filtration before it reaches the recipient. So we can call it noise also because when the message is passing from the sender to the recipient, it has go through, as I mentioned, a lot of channels are there through which the message passes. So it can be audio, it can be visuals, it can be print, it can be any other medium through which the message passes. So that's how the filtration takes place, and that is why it is very important that the essence of the message remains constant. So like the sender, what the sender is saying, it should be received by the recipient in the same way, not like a Chinese whispers box, like the sender said something and the receiver understood something. Both of them have to be on the same page. So that is in nutshell what the communication process is all about. And there are different skill sets involved in it, like speaking, writing, definitely listening. So these are different attributes of communication. Once we know how to implement all of these, then we can become a great communicator.
Basically, how important is communication during a promotion cycle?
Right. So it's a very important and a crucial question because now many people will be going through their promotion cycle shortly. So here we have to understand that there are two parties involved, the employee and the employer or the organization. So before the promotion cycle starts, both of them have to be on the same page in understanding what are the parameters based on which the employee is getting promoted or getting marked or getting uh, comments, whichever way you want to put it. So that is very important. And for that, there has to be clear communication, precise communication, and also both of them have to be on the same page in understanding that there is clarity in the process. Like the employee, if at all getting a score of maybe 5 out of 10, needs to know why this 5 is given. That kind of clarity has to be there. And the employer also, on the other hand, needs to have specific reasons in place why this 5 is getting given to the employee. So both of them have to be on the same page, and then only the final signature should come up on the documents needed for the promotion process. And that's why it is highly crucial that both of them listen carefully, both of them understand the process, and both of them also highlight if they have any issues. Because the final thing shouldn't be disputed. There has to be some sort of clarity on both the sides, and they have to be agreeing to the protocols, then signing on the dotted line.
To see whatever the sections of you told me in communication that we need a writing, listening. So most important thing is that listening. We don't want to listen because of our ego. So how to develop the skill at this listening?
It's a very important question, Patricia. I'm glad that you highlighted this because, see, when we talk about listening skills in communication, there are different types of listening. Okay? There can be active listening, there can be passive listening, there can be selective listening, and so on and so forth. So, when we are talking about listening as one of the parameters in the promotion cycle, the listening definitely has to be an active listening. Now, as I said, both the employer and the employee has to be on the same page before the final approval comes into the table that yes, this promotion cycle is over and this employee has got this much of rating, right? So for active listening, it is very important that both the employee and the employer, they listen to each other without any interruption, without the urge to reply. We have this urge to reply and we don't actually focus on what the other person is saying. We just want to be done with it and just reply, okay, this is what I mean. No, it's not about you only, it's about the other person also. Both are of equal weightage. So it is very important that we are responding to the speaker's message once we have clarity both verbally as well as non-verbally, because as you know, in communication, body language also plays a very important role. So if my employer is telling me something, I need to understand what are the verbal clues as well as the non-verbal clues as well. And if I'm having any doubt, I have to get it clarified immediately. So that will only happen if I am listening to the other individual uninterrupted. I'm totally focused. I'm understanding. If I'm having any issues, I am putting it as a red flag and then getting it clarified once the discussion is over, not interrupting the speaker. It has to be done at the end. So we can jot down our questions, which we are having doubts on. And once the discussion is done from the other end, we can come up with our questions and get it clarified. So that will only be possible if we are an active listener.
Question to you is, what are the top two communication skills that a professional needs?
Okay. So yeah, the top two skills according to me, I mean communication itself is a very important skill set. But according to me, the top two skill sets will be, as I mentioned, number one, active listening, and number two will be assertiveness. So both I would say go hand in hand, but little bit of difference is there. But active listening, as I mentioned, how the process goes, and also assertiveness. That these are according to me both are important.
Okay, so we talked about the active listening. So, if I want to understand what is active listening, can you just explain to us?
Okay. So suppose I give you a scenario wherein this a promotion cycle becomes a bit critical. So let's make it a bit lighter.
Yeah, yeah.
Suppose it's a, I mean both the friends are sitting together and they're discussing about something very common, maybe a common topic like what is their favorite food. And if at all in the discussion process, if the friend mentions about a food item and the other friend completely ignores it, the other friend is stressing on what he or she likes to eat. So then the other person, the friend who has mentioned the food item, is going to feel left out because he or she will think, okay, I mentioned this person is not even interested. See, she or she is only stressing on, okay, I love eating biryani. Okay, biryani, biryani, biryani. The entire conversation goes on that line. And when the other person likes to eat fried rice, and that has not been even touched upon. So you feel left out. You feel you're not important in the conversation and it becomes one-sided. So if the other person would have listened to the friend carefully, then he should have understood that okay, this person likes to eat maybe Chinese food. So maybe I will touch upon some Chinese food items and then I will detour my conversation towards biryani and stress on that factor. So that is how can be a simple real life scenario. But yes, when we talk about corporate space, communication does plays a very important role when it is backed up by active listening.
What mistakes do you often make in communication and listening, and as you mentioned, active listening also?
Noticed, and I have seen even my trainees also do quite often, is they interrupt the speaker. Okay, if you are listening carefully, you will never interrupt the speaker because the main content or the context of your communication is coming from the speaker itself. So interruption is a strict no-no. Don't listen to somebody keeping in mind that I have to reply immediately. No, it's not a necessary thing that you have to do. You have to listen carefully and attentively. There is no need to reply. There's no rat race going on. So take your time, listen carefully, and any sort of distraction. I've seen many people uh, sitting with their phone when someone is speaking. Then they might be, speaking to somebody else, next door person. When somebody is speaking, that's again a no-no because you're getting distracted. And if I come back to you with a question, you will not be able to answer. And then again, another, if you have noticed carefully, while explaining listening, I have mentioned active listening, passive listening, and selective listening. So selective listening again is very dangerous because herein we are only focusing on what we want to listen to. Just like the example I said, the two friends discussing. So there the person only wanted to know what I like to eat. I will focus on that. I don't want to know what the other person is saying. So selective listening is pretty dangerous in the communication process and it's a strict no-no. And also when the person is speaking, you need to have some sort of interest in the topic. Just not totally ignore the speaker. Because if the speaker is saying something, there can be some sort of value addition also happening to your knowledge base. So you need to keep these things in mind and not repeat them as a mistake when you're focusing on active listening.
Okay, what is assertive over here?
Okay, assertiveness. Now, assertiveness means it's a way of explaining like it's not that what I am saying I'm correct, but my point of view is also important in the conversation. So it is the ability to express your thoughts, feelings, emotions clearly and respectfully, wherein you are not only respecting your own ideas, but you're also showing respect to the other individual's ideas as well. For example, suppose at workplace you are about to leave. Your day's work is done. It's already 6 p.m. You're leaving. When you're getting up from your workspace, your boss comes in and gives you another 4 folders. Please check them and give it to me by end of the day. But your work timing is over and you're done for the day. You're leaving. So in this kind of a scenario, if I straight away tell my boss, oh, my work time is over, I cannot look into all these. If I do it this way, it's rude, it is arrogant, and it is aggressive because I am putting forward my viewpoint without even considering yours. But what the boss has done maybe is incorrect because the person is leaving, the employee is leaving for the day. So you cannot just dump on more extra work to that individual. So if I'm assertive, then my response will be that fair enough. These are the extra work that you have given. But sir, this is the time I leave every day. My working hours are over. So what I will do tomorrow morning is these will be the first priority folders that I will be looking into. I will check, recheck whatever needs to be done on them. First thing first, I will complete this work and give it to you by so and so time. Be fixed with that time. That shows your dedication also towards your work. So what I'm doing is I'm not upfront going and saying no to the person. I'm saying no, but I'm respecting his position as well, his work as well as my work. That my job is over for the day, I will be leaving, but I'll ensure that your work is also done by end of the day tomorrow. Or maybe you specify a time limit. Okay, by 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, I will complete this and It will be at your desk, or I will be mailing you across. So this is how assertiveness is all about. It is about expressing your thoughts and beliefs clearly and respectfully, but also not ignoring the other person's viewpoint or other person's requirement. So it's like a win-win situation. You both are on the same page. Nobody is ignoring anyone.
Difference between assertive and aggressive.
Right. So here I would say that, as I mentioned, assertiveness is definitely win-win situation. This example very clearly makes people understand very easily that what happens in day-to-day life, and it is a very common scenario. It has happened with me many a times. So, but at times when I wasn't aware of this concept, I used to be straightforward, saying, "No, I cannot do this. I'm leaving for the day. I won't be able to do it." No, that is wrong. Here you take a pause and you say, "Okay, fine, I have to leave, but I'll ensure your work is also done." Okay, so that is what assertiveness is all about. Here, both the parties are given due respect, wherein aggressiveness is totally the opposite, wherein the other person is trying to dominate or control the conversation. Okay, so nobody, if if the same scenario, if I have to explain, um, like I said from my viewpoint, like my way of putting it, no, I cannot do it. I will do it maybe tomorrow. I'm leaving now. I cannot do it. That is aggressive. But if in the same way, if my boss also says, "How dare you talk to me like that? I've given you this work, you have to complete it. You have to finish it and give it to me right now." That is aggressive. Because here you are trying to dominate or control the conversation. You are getting into that ego zone of yours that I am asking you to do, but you're saying no to me. Why? So again, there is an approach of how you handle the situation. And that is exactly done through communication. Mainly, this is like two different aspects of communication. And that's why I said this is one of the important skill sets that we need to learn, because it is not easy. Especially in corporate space, this is not easy. Every now and then you get asked questions. Every now and then you will be dumped with work. Every now and then you have to clarify yourself. And if you have to clarify yourself, then assertiveness is the only way out. Wherein aggressiveness is never going to help you. It's going to put you in a very bad perspective, and you will be in the limelight always, because this is the person who speaks like this. You will be noted like that. So that is what not we are achieving. We want to be looked upon. We want to be taken care of. So in that case, definitely assertiveness is what we should be following, and it takes time to learn. It is difficult, I would say. Once it is not difficult, it is not easy, because
So whatever skills you mentioned to me over here in the podcast, should we use these things every day at our workplace?
well, in that case, I would say, see, every day, uh, all the skill sets might not be required, but yes, the ones that I mentioned, it is needed. Yes, active listening whenever you are in meetings, whenever, even for a simple conversation, also, it can turn out to be important. So it's better to have that active listener, hat always on. And assertiveness will only come when there is any kind of exchange of work, exchange of task is happening. That is when generally assertiveness comes into picture. Otherwise, it's all right. Like formal, any informal or formal discussion, assertiveness might not pop in every now and then. But yes, active listening is a must. That is new.
Using the skill that you mentioned that we need to do active listening every day at our workplace.
So, suppose there is a meeting going on, and there are deliverables expected from everyone who is present in the meeting. So, if you are not an active listener, then at your workplace, what generally happens is there is one person designated for writing down the minutes of the meeting. So, that person has to be an active listener. There is no choice, because you need to know who is having what task. And generally, what I had noticed is after the meeting used to end, many people used to go and run towards that individual asking, what was my task? What was the work that has been giving to me? Or when I have to submit this? When was the call? So why are you asking so many questions if you have been attentive during the meeting? That means they have not been active listening. Their focus was somewhere else. They might be distracted. They might be doing something else, or their focus was was on definitely on something else. So this is a very common scenario when after the meeting. This is a common scenario after the meeting. It definitely will happen, or maybe when the person sends the minutes of the meeting. If you would have been an active listener, you definitely know that okay, XYZ work I have to complete. But people who don't listen carefully, they will definitely, after the mail has been sent, why did you write this about me? I wasn't there. I wasn't aware of this. There was this discussed. I haven't heard it. So these kind of questions come up only, and this is unnecessary conversation. This is like you're wasting your time as well as the other individual's time, wherein it was discussed and the person has to show that, see, this was the point given and I have written it down. So why to get back into that loop again? If you're an active listener, you know exactly what is asked from you. So you will make a note of it. So this is very common. This is very common. And that's why it is very, very essential that you are an active listener. You definitely have to have that focus of.
Ego. There is a people have ego. Okay, there is a ego when we don't want to listen. We just want to speak.
Hmm.
I have often seen in the workplace that I used to work, people want to just speak. They don't want
Mm-hmm.
to listen only.
Mm-hmm.
So can you give an example uh, that how remove that ego?
See, I would say that they don't want to listen, and that is coming only because of ego. Ego definitely can be a factor, but they don't want to listen. Maybe they uh, just don't want to be a part of the conversation, could be one thing. And secondly, they might be thinking of doing something else when they have to listen to somebody. So, and see, active listening again has a very important attribute connected to it is mindful listening. You have to be present at the moment to listen. So if you're not present at the moment, then whichever way you want, you will not become an active listener. So ego can be a small factor, but if you are not mentally or emotionally present in the scene and contribute to the process, you will never be an active listener. So that urge needs to come from within that, yes, I have to do something, I have to perform certain acts, and this is a part of my job role. You have to be dedicated that way so that I will keep aside my ego when I'm entering my workspace and will focus on these are my deliverables. If for that I have to listen to somebody, I will listen. So that kind of mindset definitely comes with experience, definitely comes with liking your work, what you're doing, because if you're doing a mundane job, day in and day out, the same thing, there is no spice, nothing added to your workspace or to your work zone, then definitely you will feel tired, you will feel exhausted, and that shows. Your work quality deteriorates, and you are definitely not an active listener.
So why do people struggle like, with being assertive?
Assertive?
Why do people struggle with being assertive?
Okay. So, see, as I told you, assertiveness is something which is again, it is not easy to learn. You just cannot be in the space always wherein you're respecting the others' views and also putting forward your views. But the main crux of the story to become an assertive individual is to say no with dignity. So and straight away no is not acceptable. Let's be very clear. If I say no, I will not do it, that is not an acceptable response. So you have to be negative in a positive way. So it's difficult. I would say it is not easy to learn, It will take practice. It will take. I had trainees who had come to me to learn assertiveness because they were not getting promoted. They were getting less marks. They were like they have been kept aside from everybody in the group. Nobody wanted to speak to that person because she was aggressive. So she had to take coaching. She had to learn her speaking abilities. She need to confirm that yes, I know this before she went back to work. So it is definitely not easy. And most important thing is when you have to become assertive, you have to put yourself in the pedestal first. That what I want. Can I do this work now? I cannot do it. So let's be frank about it. But I have to put it in a more official manner. Not like, oh, I will not do it now. I will do it definitely, but give me some time, maybe tomorrow morning. This is the first thing that I'm going to do, and I will send this report across to you by so and so time. So using I statement is definitely important. It's me. I will do it. Then also keeping in zone that if I'm saying no, then there has to be a counter reply to that. I cannot do it. Why? The reason, and I will do it next day in so and so time. And definitely, as I mentioned, body language plays a very important role in the communication process. So, if you are assertive, in that case, you definitely have to maintain eye contact because you are expressing half of your uh, comment or half of your message through your eye contact, through your body language. So, that thing has to be in, and that is why I said it is difficult because you have to keep so many parameters in your mind when you're becoming assertive. You have to go for I statements, you have to maintain eye contact, and your body language definitely shouldn't be, slouched back or, crossed arms. You cannot do that. And also saying no with also considering the other's viewpoint as well. So, yes, assertiveness is difficult.
After listening to your viewpoint about being assertive, I need to ask you a cross question: is how to maintain a good body language and a good eye contact.
This is very crucial because you will be surprised to know that more than 50% of our communication happens through body language. Even if you're not speaking, if a person is a good communicator, he or she will understand what is going on in your mind. So, as your question is like, can you repeat the question once again?
Mistake in the relationship?
Very critical question. Very critical question because because when I started off, I initially thought that people will need more assistance in personal relationship, but it happened the other way around. People came to be more for business communication coaching. So I thought that okay, fine, everyone is okay with personal relationship might be, but now with the alarming rates of divorces happening and also like families getting broken, more nuclear setups coming into picture, it shows that something is wrong somewhere. And if we have to trace back, I think the major concern is the communication process. Because if I'm taking any relationship, in any relationship is not only about husband and wife. It can be between boyfriend, girlfriend, or it can be between in-laws and daughter-in-law, or within parents, siblings, any sort of relationship. If we talk about some sort of ego crops in, that's where the main problem starts, because the other person thinks that they're superior from the other one, and some kind of inferiority complex also comes into being. Then from there comes in blaming, criticizing each other. So, and that leads to a lot of misunderstanding. The communication process is thin somewhere. It's not a fruitful communication process. Something you're not gaining something out of it. So that kind of a communication process definitely is going to hamper your personal relationship. And at the end, what is happening is breakups, either nuclear setups coming in, divorces taking place, siblings are not talking to each other, they're fighting for their property or allowances, like my share, my share, my share. So all these things come because we we don't effectively communicate what we have to. There remains misunderstandings. There remains certain gray areas where we don't look into, and maybe we think that is not my responsibility. That is the other individual's responsibility. So in a way, some loopholes, gaps here and there leads to a lot of issues in personal relationships.
I just want to ask you that how did you coming to you only that you are good at communicating. You have expressed every question, explained the question very easily. So how did you improve your communication and what the audience should listen from, should learn from?
Okay, so your question is like how
I'm
to.
explaining. I'm just explaining that your communication is too good. So it was from the start. How did you improve your communication?
No, it wasn't like this from the beginning. Like to trace back or how I started was I started off from BPO sector. Okay,
Okay,
so my first job was with the Excel services in Noida,
okay,
and therein I joined as a customer care executive for Aviva Motor Claims.
okay.
And I'm talking about 2003, 2004. So that time was a very looked down upon job. Like, oh my God, call center. God knows what is she doing. And she has to be awake whole night and take calls. Now, you know how our society functions. Fortunately, that's like a blessing in disguise for me because I have learned almost everything from that space. Like core English. Like you need to have a neutral accent. I never had a neutral accent. I had a typical Bengali accent. I had to work hard on to develop a neutral accent. That goes about English, but also in the communication style, how you're going to develop your own, what should be your body language, how you should be interacting with the clients, your stakeholders, how you have to listen to them, what are the key words that you're going to pick up from the conversation, because we were speaking to Brit clients and they are sarcastic. As they come to know that the call has landed to India, you have to face them because they will come up with all sort of comments and everything. We had certain guidelines that we have to maintain. That kind of a scenario comes in. But again, having said that, even from the Brit clients also, we have learned many things. So if I say how my communication skills improved, I had read a lot. I have worked on myself. You have to upskill yourself. That is very important. And my go-to book is Dale Carnegie. It can be on public speaking. It can be on how to convince, negotiation skills, then also on uh, like learning about body language, learning about public speaking, everything. So Dale Carnegie, like if you know Dale Carnegie, or if you they have a specific institutes also in different places of India where they train coaches. They also train for public speaking as well. And when my last organization in Deutsche Bank, I I used to be a process trainer. So for becoming a process trainer, I had to go through certain training processes to become a process trainer. And also, not only process training, my core job was into content writing. So if you have to become a good writer, you need to communicate well. And you have to be a good speaker. That goes hand in hand. So it is very important that you keep on upskilling yourself, especially when you've understood that these are the areas that are my weak points. I cannot let it happen. My pain points need not be my pain points. I have to work on that. So nowadays there are so many coaches available. During my time, there were no coaches. So I had to work on myself. And for that, books have helped me a lot. I have to identify whose book I'm going to read so that my communication skills improve. I have to take up all the trainings possible. And obviously, my organizations have provided that to me. So have to go for trainings, understand the process in and out, and become like a volunteer in doing everything. So you have to take up responsibilities. That's how you learn. So this is very important in corporate space that you be in the limelight, you do things on your own. And once they see the interest in you, you will definitely climb up the ladders.
Told me that you read a lot of books. Okay, and you attended a lot of workshops. So how it personally groomed you? You told me these things, but how it personally helped you? So now you're providing this training to your clients. So how it personally groomed you and your clients?
So my clients are getting benefited from me because all the hard work I have done. Now, and again, if they are taking trainings from me, it's their hard work as well. I mean, because nothing comes easy, and especially communication as a skill set, you have to give more than 100% to learn, because there are many concepts which you will come to maybe hear it for the first time. Everyone is not an expert in everything. So in that case, whoever is the expert or whoever is your mentor or guide or guru, whichever way you want to call it, you have to listen to that person. And when the person is telling something, it is for your own good. So that I've learned in this long run, that if I'm not good at something, I need to learn and make up for it. And make up in the sense like not just 50, 60%. I have to give my 100% to learn that. So that dedication, that hard work you have to do for yourself. And secondly, as I mentioned, my method is very like traditional. I like reading books, I'll make notes, and I will implement those concepts in my day to day work. There are different ways of doing things. So, what I personally do for my clients is I offer personalized coaching, right? One on one personalized coaching. So, I first get into a clarity call in understanding what are their pain points, what is the situation they're going through, and what they want to learn as per communication is concerned from me. Based on that, I create their training plan. So training plan, it can be for a month, it can be for 2 months, it can be for 3 months. Generally, to get adopted to a new skill, or maybe, just to, upskill yourself. In that case, what needs to be worked upon is for a duration of 90 days. That is needed. You have to give yourself at least 3 months time to see your hard work getting shown somewhere. You are understanding things, you're doing things in a different way, and that is getting appreciated, that is getting acknowledged. So, for that, 20 days is needed. And that's how I work. For them, initially, to begin with, I make a 1 month planner and share it with them. Once they're okay with it, then I go ahead with the second month and the third month, only if they give me a go ahead. That, okay, fine, this 1 month looks fine. You can go ahead with the next two. So 90 days is what I tell them very clearly beforehand itself, that you have to invest and you have to learn. So apart from that, this is how my one-on-one coaching format. And then, like whenever we are meeting, we take up one topic. We first discuss it and then we do practical implementations of that. So it can include something to do with writing skills, something to do with speaking skills, or it can be only preparing the individual for interviews as well, or any kind of group meeting or something. Whichever are their problem areas, they come up with that and I prepare their plan based on that. And there is also something which I offer, which is mostly a digital product, is my e-courses, which has got both basic and advanced level. So if you have to learn something new, like communication, unfortunately, is not taught in schools and colleges. I am a mass comm student. So mass communication is very different from communication skills, because in mass communication, you have focus on print, audio, visuals, etc., and hardcore theory. But here you're learning something very technical, something which you have to implement on a daily basis. So to understand that and how to implement that, you need to have a proper guiding plan. And for that, I have this e-course in place which serves as a text material. And this is completely based on my research. Like whatever I've learned from my workplace, from my experience, whichever books I have read, based on that, I have created these courses. They are available in basic and advanced bundle, and this they serve as a reference material. Suppose if I'm taking a training session on active listening, for example, in Adna, there is one chapter on active listening in that ebook. So maybe when my trainee who is learning active listening from me in a one-on-one basis can refer to that active listening topic in the book itself and maybe get into a better space of understanding the concept much clearly. So that's how it helps. But it is not a mandatory thing that you have to go for this e-courses. People who are mostly focused on doing practicals, learning the concept in the class and then implementing it immediately in their day-to-day work, or even from the class itself, or when I give them some home assignments to do, they implement that. This is, again, it varies from individual to individual, but this is what I offer. So, I mean, I have both like e-courses as well as one-on-one training plans.
Nowadays, there's a lot of hard skills going on. It is data analytics, cyber security, and more things. I'm just forgetting Python, app development. To present that thing, we need to be a good communicator. For pitching those things, we need to be a good communicator. For example, skill is needed for the hard skills means technology skills. So, what is your take on it? And AI is also going a lot. Engineering AI,
Artificial intelligence.
yeah, agentic AI agent. I'm really sorry because I'm not remembering those context. So you can just give your little bit of perspective about that thing. Hard skill is also needed, but for that, soft skill is also needed. That is
Yes.
storytelling, that storytelling, that communication.
So if you see that there are many courses I've seen in engineering courses mostly, they have communication in it. Now, when you just deep dive into it, it's not the communication which I'm talking about. They're talking about machine learning and all those stuff. Now, robotics also coming into picture, AI, as you mentioned. I am currently doing a course on AI as well because I am definitely, as I said, I want to upskill myself. That is one point. Secondly, I want to see how AI can help in my journey of becoming a good trainer in communication skills. If AI has to do something with it, then why not? So, in that case, what I have felt is that AI is definitely a very helpful tool. AI understands you very well if you are personalizing the tools. And based on that, the human impact is still there in AI. Because even if we are having so much of machine learning, robotics, so many things with, again, technology advancing, many new things will also come up. But the human essence is very important because the prompts finally which you're giving to the AI tool is written by you. So your emotions, your ideas, and what you need from the tool is your input. So human interference or intervention is not going to go anywhere. So if you are a good communicator, you're good by yourself. An AI tool cannot make you a better communicator. Maybe the AI tool can do the research for you, but how you're presenting the research material is completely up to you. So, whichever tool is coming, you first need to know your basics and then you can implement the same.
Telling you, I was just listening a YouTube video on AI communication skills and all. But when I just gave them a notebook, I just told them and give me the summary. I didn't get it through it. But I then watched the video, I got something, then only there was a human touching to it, then I understand the things more deeply. I was watching a YouTube video about branding and marketing. I told them to please give me a summary on AI tool. They gave me a summary, but I wanted to understand more deeply. But
Mhm.
more deeply, we need a human touching to it.
Exactly.
If people are not understanding about it.
Exactly. Because see, AI, if you're just asking AI, okay, give me this, they will give you a generic input, right? But exactly what you want. Like suppose when you're writing a prompt, this prompt also needs to have the 5 Ws and 1 H. This is a format of writing skills in communication process. 5 Ws means who, what, where, when, why, and how, which is how. So if you don't include all these parameters in your prompt, you will get a half-baked answer. Like I want help from you in creating a list of AI websites which are currently getting highly used for marketing skills. Keep it short and simple and engaging. So I only need the list. Can you make it with 10 numbers to begin with? So if your prompt is that clear, then the tool will research online and it's going to give you only 10 websites which are focusing on marketing and is getting extensively used for the AI purpose. So you have to be very, very clear on what you want, very precise. Because otherwise, okay, give me 10 websites which are into marketing and they are also using AI and I want them in this table format. So they will give you an Excel sheet. That's it. And that you can yourself do it.
I still read a book. I still read newsletters.
AI will never be able to explain you until you are giving them clear instructions. So
Yes, that's why.
that is what I'm saying, that human impact or human touch cannot be taken away. And that's why
Yes.
communication skills is so important because as I in the beginning itself I mentioned that all living beings are communicating. So it's not only we humans are doing, even our pets are doing. Like I'm a dog lover, so I've got 3 dogs and I know exactly how each of them will communicate with me because that is how the level of intimacy is there and the level of understanding with my pets. And they will not be speaking to me like how we are doing. They will be speaking through sign language. They will be speaking through
Yes.
body language. So that level of understanding develops when you are communicating clearly, not
Yes.
only with humans, even plants communicate. It's not only
I
pets.
don't know.
Plants
I
do because if you remember in Tare Zameen Par, that movie, wherein Amir Khan in one of the context says that if you have to clean a forest in Africa, somewhere in Africa, they have this tradition that if you have to clean certain space of the forest which is not growing that well, whichever little bit of plantation has happened there, native people, they go and they start abusing those plants. They start saying negative, and that negative energy increases to certain extent that within 3 months that area is barren. So what is happening? Your negative energy is getting transported from you to that another living being, and that living being is consuming that energy. So in a way, you're communicating something negative to a living individual or a living being, and because of that negative commenting, negative communication, the energy that is getting created, the vibration that is getting created is actually cleaning those plants. They are dying and you don't have to do anything extra. So that's how the barren land is created. So it is just an example, but yes, I mean, communication is everywhere. So we need to understand that if we have to survive well, if you have to survive like better way, like whatever we are doing, we are excelling, we are learning, and we are understanding our partners, we are understanding our family better, people who are surrounding us. If we have to live in a better system, in a better ecosystem rather, then in that case we have to communicate in a better way. Yes, yes.
Yeah. So the last question that you was second last, that dog is also, they communicate something. When they feel hungry, you can understand by their way of expression, the way of their body language. When they want to go to the outside to the park, for worship, you can get to know that yes, they need something. They need love. We can feel it through the communication also.
Yes, definitely. Because, see, I mean, my dogs have helped me to learn a lot about how to deal with emotions and how to interact in a way which is, I mean, it's not necessary that you have to show that you are interacting with them. It comes naturally. That's how pet parents are. I mean, if whoever is listening to this podcast, if they are a pet parent, they will definitely understand what I'm trying to say with their touch, with their feel, with their looks. As you mentioned, that if they have to go out, they will have a different body language. If they, and not only with body language, even through whining, through sound, and through, wagging their tail or calling, like, they will give their paw and call that, okay, I want to go out, or, you give me this food, I like to eat. So there are different ways that, and they know that my master or my mom or dad will understand what I'm trying to say. So that trust factor is already in them. So the communication process gets more robust and more foolproof, I would say, if you trust each other, if you know what the other person is looking for and exactly provide the same, then it becomes much more easier. Because here, what happens is we complicate, we learn things, and then we don't know where to implement it. We just get lost in the process. That is where you're not heading anywhere. So that's why the training plan is very important to have in front whenever you're progressing in this long run, because not only understanding concepts, it is also important to implement it. So just learning public speaking is not going to help you. You have to get up on a stage and face the audience right in front. And then you will understand what my trainer was telling me is to have the right body language. So there are many speakers like TEDx speaker, Simon Sinek, for example. He's a great speaker. Yeah. And it doesn't seem like that he's speaking. It's just so natural. Yeah. The way he handles audiences' queries. Trevor Noah, he's a comedian. But when he speaks on serious notes, you will never understand he's a comedian. Yeah. So, I mean, these speakers, if you see them, watch them, listen to them, you learn a lot. You learn a lot from them.
Yes. So coming to the last question, thank you for being our guest. And just I need to tell to you that who suffer basically struggling in communication, what they should do, what exercise they should do, so they can see a great improvement in their communication.
See, before getting into any kind of exercise, they need to do a little bit of self-analysis first. That where I'm going wrong in communication process, which are the areas which I feel that I have to work upon. It can be speaking, it can be listening also, because that is the most important exercise. Whether I'm listening to the other person carefully or not, what are the things I should understand before I should become a good listener, then whether I'm speaking clearly or not. There are individuals who have high rate of speaking. The person is excellent in whatever he or she is doing. The way they are saying things, the listener will just get jumbled up. Okay, I didn't understand what he or she spoke about. So they need to identify their areas which are like pain points or could be areas of improvement. That's why self analysis is important. Once that thing comes up, maybe you can start watching videos or read books based on those areas which can help you improve, or start doing some exercises which are easily available online, free tools. If these things, if you have done and if you're not being able to get any good results, then I would think the logical approach will be going for a coach. Get yourself trained properly so that in the long run you're not suffering, because communication is needed from the time you're waking up in the morning. So it is such an important skill that you need to know it correct. There is no space of knowing it in a correct way. You have to know it correctly. So first try to do self-analysis, try to work on yourself, that's how I do it. Like, I first try to do things on my own. Now, when I understand, okay, now this is not my cup of tea, I'm not heading anywhere, then it's better to go for someone who knows it better. And then that's how your progression should be. Definitely.
So, Koyal, thanks for being a guest. And I learned a lot of things from the podcast, and the audience have learned a lot of things from this podcast. Is active listening. There's a lot of subsections about the communication. Communication is just for one branch. Many things into that. Because the main thing is soft skills, then we have communication skills, then we have a lot of things, active listening, patience,
Assertiveness.
assertiveness, telling matters a lot. And got to know a lot of things about it. And you told that we need to know about the client's problem situation, what they want to learn. So basically, you give them a one free tip that if you want clients, you can just know their problem situation and what they want to learn. So thank you for being a guest.
Thank you so much, Pratyasha, for calling me. And it feels great, to speak about this important skill set. And hopefully it will help others, and they will also become great learners in this process.
Because your experience brought over here, you are having a good experience, good knowledge about the communication. And having knowledge and you're taking action to it, that matters a lot. Just having a
Oh, yeah.
knowledge is also important, but taking action is double 3x important. So thank you for being our guest.
Thanks a lot. Have
Yeah.
a nice day.